Hey, what's up? The devs pushed this one out to tackle a number of nasty softlocks and some fairly game-breaking crashes, plus a couple of platform-specific quality of life adjustments, like a try. So, if you've been running into stuck checkpoints or random freezes, this patch is aimed squarely at that. The studio even released a small PS5 hotfix covering menu crashes, session privacy behavior, and adaptive trigger adjustments, so console players should notice a few targeted improvements right away. One of the big themes here is soft lock fixes, the kinds of problems that either completely stop your run or make you reload checkpoints repeatedly. The team fixed interactions that could leave you unable to interact with the whale in certain scripted situations, which was surprisingly common blocker in some runs. They also patched cases where blocking volumes in the hospital area weren't being disabled correctly when reloading from a checkpoint after death, which could leave the player trapped and unable to progress without restarting the entire session. Other fixes cover the barn freeze, where the player character could lock up upon entering, and situations where binocular interactions left players stuck and unable to continue. All of those progression blockers have been addressed in this build. On the multiplayer side, which is obviously crucial for REANIMAL's co-op focus, there are fixes targeted at checkpoint loading and connection behavior. The tank section in particular got some attention because there were reports of checkpoint loading problems that prevented players from connecting properly in online play. And the devs have made changes to how sessions handle those transitions to reduce desyncs and stuck states. The team also rolled out general fixes aimed at resolving multiple online co-op issues that could cause players to become stuck or fall out of sync during cooperative sequences, which should make coordinated runs feel a lot smoother. Crashes were another major area of focus. The patch explicitly fixes a crash that could occur during the tank chase sequence. That was one of the more reproducible, high-impact crashes, and another pretty nasty crash that could happen when one player shot another in the hanging soldier room, which also had the side effect of preventing achievement progression for affected players. Beyond those two, the update includes a handful of stability improvements and general crash reductions that should make the game less likely to suddenly close out during key moments. If you've been getting booted mid-run, this update aims to substantially lower the chances of that happening. There are also some very specific in-game NPC and gameplay behavior fixes. For example, the underwater brook horse that could kill players prematurely has been tuned so it no longer ends runs unexpectedly, and an NPC on the bus toward the orphanage that sometimes failed to sit down has been corrected so events tied to that NPC no longer break progression. Companion AI navigation has been improved as well, addressing cases where companions failed to follow properly or got stuck on geometry. These AI fixes are subtle, but noticeably improve the flow of co-op sessions and single-player runs where an ally needs to be present for certain triggers. Those tweaks make a difference in the pacing of sequences that rely on NPC behavior. Hardware and driver interaction fixes show up too, which is good news for players experiencing platform-specific instability. Recent updates have included workarounds and fixes for crashes and stability problems tied to particular CPU and GPU combos, and there have been follow-up patches addressing Intel and AMD-related issues to help reduce random crashes on affected systems. The net result should be fewer abrupt hardware-related shutdowns or driver incompatibility issues during gameplay. On the polish and technical front, several camera and audiovisual problems were corrected. The patch tackles camera behavior during specific gameplay moments and cinematic transitions, so you're less likely to get awkward camera snaps or framing problems, and it resolves instances where music or ambient sounds continued playing incorrectly after a scene had changed. Visual glitches like clipping and animation hiccups were also cleaned up, and there's a general pass of minor bug fixes and gameplay polish that smooths out smaller annoyances across multiple areas of the game. For people on Steam, the broader 1.5 family of fixes and the developer branch notes have been rolling out with detailed listings of softlock and attrition fixes, and the team has been iterating quickly to get these fixes out to the live build. The public patch notes and community threads show the devs are actively tracking the remaining rare cases. For instance, there's a note that the transition from the tank to the final encounter had a black screen issue that's been partially fixed, but that rare edge case may still require another follow-up to be fully resolved. So while the major problems are addressed, some extremely rare scenarios are still being monitored. Overall, this update is a focused stability and progression pass that prioritizes getting players unstuck, preventing premature deaths in scripted encounters, and making online sessions more reliable and less prone to desync. If you've been wrestling with the specific softlocks or crashes I mentioned, give this patch a run and you should see noticeable improvements. The devs have been pushing hotfixes and dev branch updates fairly often to tackle the most critical issues quickly. So this feels like another solid step toward a more stable play experience.